What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. We're back once again with career mode. This is episode number 9 for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Coincidentally, the racetrack we're going to this weekend for the real F1. So let's see if we can make some comparisons. I guess lap time wise. I don't know. Anyway, if you're new to this series, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content on F1 2021. Also on that, let me know what you want to see now that we're done with Breaking Point. I have a little bit more time to explore different kind of videos. So again, let me know what you want to see. Without further ado, let's get into the daily problems of Marduk Motorsport.
Our running costs are significantly less than the income we're pulling in. I suggest we start looking for opportunities to spend that profit margin.
Okay, yeah, we're saving up our money because we want to do some department upgrades, more specifically fabrication, because we absolutely need it.
It looks like our driver has an issue. We need you to step in here.
Okay, so this one is a magazine offer for our teammate Marcus Armstrong. If we send him off to do this activity, we'll get 1,000 driver acclaim for him. But the consequence will be a loss of 7 points of driver experience for the next race. Yeah, screw it. Let's take it.
You handled that well. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to go for it because we need the driver acclaim. The driver acclaim pulls into the team acclaim. And the higher the team acclaim, the faster you can move through the ranks. So we'll take one weekend where Marcus isn't so good at development feedback. Hell, we've had a whole season where he's not been good with development feedback. Anyway, let's spend some money, shall we? Unfortunately, we can't do fabrication. That's a $2.5 million upgrade. Definitely not going to do that for powertrain. What I would like to do it for is chassis. So we'll probably fast forward a few days, wait for some resources to come in, and then we might have enough to splash the cash. In terms of resource points, we are going to do an energy recovery system upgrade. All the other departments, aero and chassis, are already preoccupied with other upgrades, so I can't pile on to what we're already doing. But with this incoming spend for the facilities, that'll hopefully mean we can do extra stuff. Unfortunately, an engine power upgrade failing heading into this race. We'll hopefully get that rectified for the next episode. It's the crankshaft. It is going to cost $227. So that'll go on in time for the Belgian Grand Prix, the next episode. So yeah, that'll be a welcome upgrade, having some power at that circuit. Anyway, facility upgrade. We are finally going to do fabrication. It's a $2.2 million upgrade. And that'll mean once that gets applied, we can then do 2 upgrades at the same time for the chassis. And I can't tell you how grateful I will be to have that facility upgrade, because then we can just up the development so much more quickly. Anyway, what in other news? What are we looking at? Some worn engine components, as per usual. We're going to take a lot of penalties this season in an effort to just get more resource points going. It'll mean we start from the back more often than not due to grid penalties, but that's fine. In the development race, Williams have made some good strides forward. They absolutely leap past Haas, who haven't really brought much to this race. We move forward a little bit with a couple of minor upgrades, which just about sees us ahead of Williams, but it's very tit for tat, isn't it? Us bottom 3 teams. Alfa Romeo have been on a good run of upgrades in the last 2 rounds. So, again, it looks like they're going to be a little bit untouchable unless we can have a great race. But this is Hungary, a circuit where there's lots of opportunity. It's very, very hard to overtake here. And if people are doing 2 stops, then, hell, points are possible. So, I've got high hopes for this. Even though we're not strong aero-wise, we're going to crank on maximum downforce in order to get the most out of this car. So, that's essentially going to be the game plan. But anyway, we're in Friday practice. I'm actually doing the quick practice programs for practice 1 and practice 2. I'm basically just killing the engine or the worn engine parts we've already got. And I'm going to do some running for practice 3 to get references for the race in terms of race runs and fuel loads and tire wear and that kind of thing. In the end, we got last in practice 3. Bit concerning, but well, it's quality in the race which matters. We do have some very worn parts in there, so to be fair, we didn't show our best hand. So yeah, we get all the development boosts that we need. We got maximum resource points, I guess, on our end, as we've been doing pretty much every weekend. We have to go above and beyond because we have made it harder for ourselves by making us get less cash and less resource points in the settings. But I like a challenge, and I'm sure you guys too. Let's go to qualifying. Alright, here we go for qualifying, and straight away we have a cooling fault. So, I guess like wherever I go, whether it be co-op, breaking point, here, online, I just got mechanical problems following me everywhere. It's absolutely lovely to see, but at least it's consistent right across the whole game experience. Anyway, we lost a bit of time in quali, and I actually probably cost myself a bit of time in getting out there as well. I did watch an onboard lap of Daniel Ricciardo do a lap, and I probably shouldn't have done that because now as I return to the garage, man, we got 7 minutes to go, and I don't think I'll get another 2 runs in, so I've kind of screwed myself there. That could be a blessing in disguise. That means we will save a set of softs for the race. So, yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do 1 run. Right at the end of the session, we're going to wait for the track to rubber in that little bit more. Given where we are pace-wise, we need to absolutely make the most of the track at its best. At the end of the session, the majority of the Q3 runners are in the pit lane, so track is a little bit less congested than what it would be otherwise. And look at this, you can see the massive improvement we got on this second run. 6/10 up on our previous best. Now, bearing in mind my first run wasn't amazing, it was like a 6-7 out of 10 lap. This is turning out to be a solid 9, I'd say. But look at the time gain. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yes, I'm hitting every corner a bit better. The track is a bit more rubbered up, and I've also taken about 1 kilo of fuel out of the car relative to where we started the session. And we're going to improve by over a second. Oh, just under a second. Anyway, that's a massive improvement. That sees us almost get into Q2. 2.4 seconds off the pace. We out-qualify our teammate for the first time in what is many, many races. And, yeah, I think for the first time in many weekends, we've seen a bit of a glimmer of hope for Marduk Motorsport. Only 3/10 away from getting out of Q1. So that's not too bad when you consider that every other team is still really developing so much. So I'll take it. This is theoretically a circuit which we shouldn't really do that well on anyway. Our biggest asset right now is our power unit. I'm not sure if you saw it in the settings prior to this weekend getting underway, but I'm pretty sure we've got like the 3rd or 4th best engine in the whole field. Simply because our facility upgrades for engine department are good. We can do 2 upgrades at a time. Things take less time, and things have been failing less on the engine. So naturally, a lot of the resources have been going there. But I guess we need to shore up the reliability of that engine, because that's also our Achilles heel. Anyway, enough waffling. Let's get into the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Welcome to Budapest once again for another round of the Formula One World Championship. Historically a good race for first victories, with Button, Hill, Alonso and Heikki Kovalainen all reaching the top step of the podium for the first time here. Anthony Davidson, a lot of talented drivers out on the track today, but what will stand out for you?
Well, Crofty, my focus is 100% on the front of the grid. Like you said, we're seeing lots of strong competition across those positions, so it would be super interesting to see the fight for that front spot. Personally speaking, I'm hoping for plenty of overtakes.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo and Perez, Norris, Sainz, Stroll and Fernando Alonso. Gasly, Ocon, Kimi Raikkonen and Tsunoda, Giovinazzi, Benjamin, Marcus Armstrong and Sebastian Vettel, Mick Schumacher, Mazepin, Latifi and George Russell ends our grid lineup. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
So here we go then. I'm feeling a bit optimistic for this race. P16, elevated up one place, virtue of Vettel's grid penalty. It also means my teammate starts a little bit closer to me as well. So, happy days. Anyway, in terms of the strategy, we're going to do a one-stop, medium to hard. This is a good track for us in terms of jagging a good result, because we know that the top 10 start on softs and they have to make an early stop onto mediums or hards or whatever, and the early stoppers don't favor too well. So our mission is to get as close or stay as close to the leaders as we can come the first round of pit stops, and then hopefully defend. And hopefully by the end of the race, we're in the points. That's my hope. I haven't exactly got the best engine in at the moment. It's kind of around 50%, so hopefully there's no issues regarding that. But we are ready to get this race underway here at the Hungaroring, and it's been a pretty good start. We immediately fly past Giovinazzi. Here comes Sebastian Vettel, though, down the inside into turn 1. Jeff warning me about the engine and loss of performance already before we even get to turn 1. Like, Jeff, I'm in the middle of a battle. I don't need to hear about the car being slow already. That's not great for my confidence. Anyway, at the inside of Ocon, we've made up a couple of positions here, up into P13. Not really sure how. I think we were just pretty aggressive into turn 1, but also turn 3 as turn 3? Turn 2. That is turn 2. I'm pretty sure that's turn 2. We better not be doing an Austria here where we count like the slightest kink as a turn. I'm pretty sure it's turn 2. Anyway, first lap is run and done. Hamilton leading the way, absolutely stretching clear of Charles Leclerc, who I believe is in P3. McLaren's, who are on a 2-race winning streak, not looking good so far in this race. This isn't a good, strong circuit for them due to that, amazing engine and drag reduction-ness of the McLaren. I don't think it's going to be a good track for McLaren in real life here either, but I am happy to be surprised. But anyway, back to our battle, and we're trying to keep Esteban Ocon behind us. He's obviously in a much faster car, as is Yuki Tsunoda, but this engine, this power plant we've got in the back of our car is doing...
Okay, gap ahead is 7.3 seconds. It's not good news, I'm afraid. Seems like an engine issue.
Oh no, just as I was about to praise the engine, I was going to say it's doing wonders for us. It's keeping us ahead of Ocon and Tsunoda. We're already getting reduced horsepower because it's over 50% wear, and now there's another mysterious problem. I guess we'll find out in a few seconds if we're going to retire or not. Hopefully not. I think we might be okay, so we're going to press on. But anyway, as I was saying, 3rd or 4th best engine in the field, and it's absolutely keeping us ahead of these much faster cars who are now starting to squabble. That's Raikkonen. Recently overtook Tsunoda, and Tsunoda is not done with this. He's going to go for a move up the inside into turn 5, and Raikkonen backs out of it and creates an awesome move for the rookie Yuki Tsunoda. I probably think at this point Raikkonen is at least double the age of Tsunoda at this point, but there we go. Youth and experience, the two extremes going at it at the same point of the racetrack. Things you love to see. Anyway, things you also love to see is Tiametmarduk defending for his life in a slow crap box against faster cars. It is really a throwback to the old days, the original days of my channel, the Cucumber Challenge in HRT, parking the bus, trying to get points, the F1 games, and of course physics and everything has come a long way since those days. I was doing 20%, 25% races. Only had to defend for 10 laps, one-stop strategies. The AI are a lot smarter these days. Anyway, around the outside we go on Tsunoda, trying to hold on. Yeah, the AI are a lot more sophisticated. They're a lot more aggressive. And more importantly, they're a lot faster than what they were back in the day. You should go back and play F1 2010, 2011, 2012 on the hardest difficulty, and you'd be surprised how bad they are. It really is quite ridiculous. Particularly F1 2010. You can genuinely win the championship in career mode in the worst car. It's a joke. If you've got a good setup on and if you're relatively fast. But anyway, how do we get on to talking about F1 2010? I don't know. That game is 11 years old now.
In this lap.
Back to 2021. And the pit window is now open for us. We're going to dive into the pits now for hard compound tyres. Seemingly there's no engine issue. I haven't noticed a loss of performance. I think we're okay. We're still able to keep ahead of our rivals, which is absolutely lovely. I did think about doing a one-stop onto softs, actually, because the mediums didn't actually feel too bad. They were gradually improving lap on lap, and you can see I lean on the hards for the first time at turn 1, and we completely bowl wide. The car just slides when I ask too much of the car on F1 2021. I fall into that habit a little bit too much. I either do that or I brake too early for corners. I just can't find the limit consistently, I suppose, on this game. If I had to say, yeah, I definitely think F1 2021 is not suiting me at this early stage of the life cycle. It's taken me a bit of time to get used to it, I'd say. Used to it in the sense of actually being competitive and fast. But we're getting there. I need to put in more practice. Anyway, yellow flag through the middle sector. It's one of the Red Bulls who have had a horrific season for reliability. Sergio Perez is out of the Grand Prix. No safety car has been deployed. That would have absolutely saved my race, or at least given me a chance to attack the top 10 runners. That now promotes us to P11 in this race. And you can see I'm running low on ERS. The light is flashing. Means I'm under 10% battery. And Yuki Tsunoda will know that. His team will be relaying that information to him. And now he's going on the attack even more as we head into turn 1. Having to leave space just in case the dive bomb does come about. A little bit weak into the turn 2 here. Had a compromised line. Again, I'm a lot slower than Yuki Tsunoda. I've basically got a rocket ship on wheels with a lot of front and rear wing angle trying to keep me in a straight line. Anyway, another yellow flag. This could get us in the points. That's one of the Alpines. I think it's Fernando Alonso, who was running in 3rd place. He's made a mistake all on his own. Look at this. There's like literally no one around him. He's got on the power too early. Or I think he's just bottled it under pressure. Because he was one of the ones who started on mediums earlier on in this race. He stayed out super long. I was holding up all of his rivals, and he overcut everyone to get in 3rd place. But then Max Verstappen closing him in, I think, was the pressure that really unraveled it all for Alonso. So a massive mistake from him there. And his hesitation to get going again has meant that he's probably going to get P10 in this race. So what a massive blunder for the 2-time world champion. I was praying that was going to be a reliability problem, a reliability failure for him. And that would have given us our first points since race 2 of this career mode. But it looks like it's not going to be just yet. We're still fighting hammer and song with Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. I'm doing my best to hold on here. Yuki has the inside for the next right-hander. But we have the flowing run, the better exit, and we are able to hang on. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc, who's doing a 2-stop. Stopped very early on for mediums, had to come in again for another set of mediums to get to the end. Now overtaking Lance Stroll, I think, for P8 in this race. So Ferrari moves up 1 place, and he'll be looking to go on a charge and catch up to the likes of the McLarens and Pierre Gasly, that kind of group. Anyway, we're fast approaching the end of this race, and guess who's also fast approaching? The leaders. Lewis Hamilton, getting blue flags on him. We're going to strategically let him go, I think, heading into the last corner so that we can get some DRS off of him and maybe go for a cheeky fastest lap of our own, like as in a personal best fastest lap, because that'll help in the rivalry. We're getting absolutely pummeled by Yuki Tsunoda, I think it is. Or no, we're in a new rivalry now with Lance Stroll. So the game has really fairly paired me up against upper midfield runners. Absolutely love that for me. Draining my driver acclaim when I lose the rivalries. Anyway, Bottas overtook me on this lap. This was meant to be my push lap. Bottas caught up to me, had to let him go, and now this is going to be my push lap where I try and get a personal best for this race. So we got DRS on the start finish straight. We're going to get DRS here, which is ultimately going to help quite a bit. We're going to drain whatever battery we have left. And now that we're a lap down, you got to remember this is now our penultimate lap. So we're going to absolutely send it on this lap. Somehow we've broken outside of a second to Sonoda. I probably think he maybe gave up too much time in the blue flags. So we're going to make the most of that. We're going to push like crazy. I think we're up by 5/10 from memory at this first sector split. We're attacking the middle sector now. You probably can risk it a little bit more on those curbs, but the curbs on F1 2021 are quite brutal. And it's very, very easy for the game to spit you out in a undesirable direction. So just playing it safe on that front a little bit. These curbs here are fine. Sector 3 curbs also fine. Inside and outside there. This curb on the left-hand side, I wouldn't touch that, especially with the front end, because that'll spin your car around. So avoid that if you can. Through the last corner. I love how this has turned into a hot lap guide, mid-career mode video. And up to the line, overtake. And that is what felt like my best lap of the weekend. A 17.1 on hards. It's not a million miles away from my qualifying lap, which was in the mid-15s on minimum fuel, on soft compound tires. I think that's a pretty good lap that I just did. Anyway, this is the end of the race. We didn't get P10. We were one retirement away from getting our first points in many, many races, but I'll take P11. That's progress.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
There'll be smiles back at the factory after that one. A great race and a real team performance to take victory here in Hungary. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy and to stay out of trouble.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
There we go. Mercedes absolutely running away with this championship now. That's a 1-2 for those guys. I guess a crucial win for them since McLaren took a bit of a stranglehold in the last two races. Red Bull have been nowhere in terms of pace, but also reliability. It's nice for Max to be on the podium, but ultimately they need to be doing a lot better than what they are at this stage. I think once the next performance patch comes in, Mercedes might be in a bit of trouble relative to Red Bull. But yeah, there we go. P11 for us. Pace was very good, I'd say. Fastest lap, you compare that, we're actually a little bit faster than those around us, which was nice. But that was a flash in the pan kind of lap. We got DRS, and maybe it wasn't a true reflection of where we stood throughout the race. We were backing everyone up the whole way, hoping for more retirements, more people to do 2 stops. A lot of people opted for the hards, people who started inside the top 10. So I think that really killed our chances. We literally only needed one more car to do a 2 stop, and we would have been there. So frustrating, but at the same time, at least we showed a bit of progression in this race. We showed a bit of heart, a bit of ticker, and progression that this car is getting slightly better. It's a bit nicer to drive. I didn't feel crazy understeer in this race. You'd hope not, given the aero levels we were running. But when we go back to a normal circuit, that's going to be the true test. And that will be the Belgian Grand Prix in Spa. I'm hoping for an equally good race there, given it's such a power track and we've got the 3rd or 4th best engine in the field now. We'll see what we can pile on upgrade-wise heading into that race. I think we do need some drag reduction upgrades, to be perfectly honest, to pair with our good engine in order to make the most of that package. But the same could be said for so many areas of the car. We need to work on everything. There's not much that actually works in our favor. The only thing we do have is raw engine power. That's it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Until the next video, I'll see you next time.